Evening, folks. Yogesh, Suvarna, Shankar, Neha, Anushri. Good evening and welcome on board. All right. So let's get started. Let me start by welcoming on board Professor Dr. Mayank Dhaundiyal, Dean of OP Jindal Business School. Professor, we're very, very glad to have you on board. A little bit about Professor as we get started. Professor Mayank currently serves as Dean of Jindal Global Business School at OPJGU. This is one of the largest B schools in India based on full-time faculty members. And Professor Mayank has an established track record of successfully conceptualizing and implementing initiatives leading to significant improvements in B schools' performances. And we will also bring him on board to speak a little bit more about himself. On the panel, we also have Mr. Tarun Ahuja. Tarun is brings on board over 2 decades of experience, has been in the edtech industry for a long, long time, working very, very closely with learners getting into the job market and getting equipped with these skills. So we will have Tarun to uh, chiming in with his thoughts on a very exciting topic that we have lined up for today, which is about management success without hitting a pause. Right. So, in today's evolving business landscape, achieving management success requires more than just keeping pace. I'm sure every one of you would agree. It asks a lot of us. It's not only about staying on top of in terms of your academics and all of that. It's also about demand. It's about developing strategic agility and adaptability. And for professionals getting into management roles, there are a lot of challenges that they face at one time. You have work that is calling out to you for those of you who have stepped into your own businesses, into your own, workplaces and looking at establishing yourselves over there. And at the same time, you have another part of it, which is education that you would like to balance out without disrupting your work. And for those of you who are very, very serious about doing this in a way that will help you accelerate your growth in your business or in your workplaces, there are a lot of challenges. And we are going to really, really dive into these things in today's conversation. Navigating the job market volatility and bridging the skills gap, all of these are just a few of the challenges that fast changing work environment is posing ahead of us, right? So, with this, let me hand over to Professor Mayank. Professor, would you tell us a little bit more about yourself and about the business school?
First of all, thank you very much for having me for this wonderful discussion on the landscape of online education and how it can help our learners. My name is Mayank Dhaundiyal. I'm currently serve, as you said about earlier, as the Dean of Business School. My research and teaching is at the intersection of strategy, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So I teach multiple subjects at that intersection. My research also focuses on those areas. In my previous life as a software engineer, I used to write codes before moving to Ireland. I did my master's in marketing, my PhD in strategy from Ireland. Came back, worked with a couple of organizations with the Jindal Group. I'm for the last 8 years. And you also, pointed out, so the business school of OP Jindal Global University is one of the 12 schools of the university. And I'm very happy to note that, even though relatively speaking, as a very young B school, it has achieved milestones after milestones. We are the largest B school in India in terms of full-time faculty. We are consistently ranked top five, private B schools in the entire country. Our BBA program, the residential one, is consistently ranked number one in India. We are the number one B school in terms of, international collaboration agreements for student mobility, so on and so forth. So I think, it's a solid B school now. in a landscape which is dominated by standalone B schools. So most of the top B schools in India continue to be standalone. But as a university B school, I think probably this is the first time in the history of management education in India that a university-based B school is making strides. So glad to be here, and we're of course going to discuss a lot about the online education landscape and how it can help learners upskill and make their profiles more relevant for the job opportunities that are currently rapidly changing, with AI and all these technologies making rapid inroads. So happy enough to discuss. Thank you.
So thank you, Professor, for that. Tarun, over to you. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll dive right into the topic.
Well, thank you so much, Christopher, and good evening, Professor Dhaundiyal, and good evening, the attendees. My name is Tarun Ahuja. Um, I have been working in the education industry for the last 15 years or so. Overall, I've worked, I am a certified public accountant, a CPA by academic qualification. I got an MBA in finance, and I worked for a while in Wall Street in New York. That's where I started my career, and then moved on into the education space since 2010. Uh, I've been with upGrad for the last 4 years, where I am responsible for the admissions that we do out here, and really interested in education and skilling. And really happy to see how the entire landscape has changed, especially post COVID, and how the uptake has been, the familiarization of people who are very resistant towards taking up an online education, but now it seems to be quite common among our learners. So really interested to see where this space is heading.
Right. Yes. So let's get into the thick of things now with the particular topic that we've chosen to dive into, which is about management success without hitting a pause, right? Um, Tarun, let me start with you and with the many learners that you're working with, right, which are all young professionals early in their careers. And what are some of the challenges that these young professionals face when they are setting out to do online programs like this, like the BBA, along with a very hectic work schedule?
Sure. So the biggest concern that most of our learners usually have is how are they going to be able to balance that work-life balance, and along with an added responsibility of now doing an online program, right? But it's also very interesting to note that what our partners do is that these programs are specifically curated uh, for a working professional, wherein we have delivery via asynchronous learning, pre-recorded lectures, which a user can view at their own convenience, and so that they don't miss out on that traditional classroom experience. We also have live lectures over the weekends, which gives our learners opportunity to interact with the faculty in real time, right? So it's and over and above that, we also have additional academic advisors who help our learners plan out and schedule their time so that they are able to perform their regular activities without actually missing out on their work and other personal responsibilities, so to speak.
Right. Of the many learners that you've worked with and kind of helped along the decades, really, what would you say are the top three challenges that these professionals face?
So, as I mentioned, how will they be able to manage an online education program along with their work and personal responsibilities? That's number one. Number two would be the ranking or the recognition that a education institute enjoys. And thirdly, and most importantly, is what value it will add to their lives after completing this program. So the learner experience the outcomes, the learning outcomes is what they put a lot of weight on. So these are the three key components that they look at before considering enrolling for an online business program.
Right. Professor Mayank, let me also get your thoughts in on this particular topic. Could you share your thoughts on how an online program like this allows for students to balance work and education seamlessly?
I'll tell you, Christabel, so, whatever, advance the technology has made, it has made many things possible. And post-COVID, especially, the acceleration has happened. So, a lot of things can be done by technology, and online education is a fantastic example of how you can leverage technology to offer quality content to people, which was not possible, at least, when I did my college, and I'm sure Tarun and Christabel, I think when we did, I think this kind of a, platform was not available at all because, the tech was just not there. So I think especially for people who want to work alongside their education, right? I think online is a fantastic way of, upskilling themselves. Because what online allows is that, it allows the kind of flexibility while, getting access to quality content. So if you join a quality degree program from a, top university, you're not only getting access to content which is benchmark, obviously, to the world's best. You're also getting access to a lot of, professors which otherwise you wouldn't be able to because a lot of the residential programs that many of the universities offer, there is a set curriculum. You have to, there's no way you can continue with your employment while doing that. Right now offers, it has its own definitive advantages, there is absolutely no doubt about it, but you certainly cannot work while you are, it's just not possible. So in many of these cases, right? So that way, I think online is a fantastic example. It gives you the flexibility to study anytime, anywhere, and allowing students to integrate this learning in the form of a degree program, for example, into their existing work schedules. And I think one of the other things that it really does is that if you're doing, let's say, a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year degree program, depending on what you're doing, I think there is a time lag after which you can apply all these learnings to your work, right? I mean, that's the whole point, right? So, for example, if doing a management degree, a 3-year BBA, it's a 2-year MBA, it's a full-time MBA. So, there are many things that you learn while, absorbing all the content, while interacting with your peers, while interacting with your professors, but you can't immediately apply, if something comes to your mind, right? So, but if
Yes.
you're doing online and you're working while getting access to all this content, something comes to mind, some idea, that you learn from some case study, for example, right? You're
Hmm.
discussing a case study on Tata Group, and suddenly you feel, oh wow, this is a fantastic concept, which I can right away, I think I can, modify and apply to my workplace. And that you can do here because you are working simultaneously. So
Yes.
I think that way online from a recognized top institution preferably a degree program, offers you great credibility while, great flexibility, credibility, while also making sure that you continue your employment.
Yes. Yes, Professor. That's a very pertinent point, actually, because, and especially for students studying business, studying it like theoretical concepts is one part of it. But actually, when you've gotten your hands dirty with the actual work or a business that you've set off on yourself, the sense that you will make of it is going to be much, much different and much more richer. So,
Absolutely, because the way management education is taught, and
true.
the same is true for you. Use a lot of examples, like this happened in
Yes.
Tata, this happened in Mahindra, this happened in Walmart, or so on and so
Yes.
forth, right? So, in the form of cases, but also in the form of examples sometimes, and sometimes just clicks that wow,
Yes.
okay, it's a similar situation that I'm also facing, perhaps, and then I can also contribute to organization institution development, and that's how you
Yes.
get noticed because you're
True.
taking some innovation that happens somewhere else, you apply it in this particular context, and suddenly the leadership starts recognizing that you're
Yes.
bringing some value, that is probably sometimes outside your immediate KRA. So that really helps.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me take a moment to just acknowledge everyone who's in the room because I think we had a lot of people pouring in even after we started, which is lovely. Again, a warm welcome to everyone who's joined us. And it would be lovely to know which city you're joining in from. So if you'd put into the chat box which city you're from and what you're doing right now, how many years of work experience perhaps, the number of years. If you can put it into the chat, welcome. We have people from different cities, many from Pune, from Agra, from Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Jalgaon. Welcome, welcome on board, everyone. We're really pleased to have you here, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy this conversation. We do hope you're able to draw a lot of value from what is being shared. We're just about getting into the thick of things here. Delhi, welcome, Ritesh. Welcome, Yash. Yes. So, in all, we have at least about hundreds of folks joining us both on YouTube and here. So, welcome again, everyone. All right, Professor, coming back to what you were sharing. Yes, I think once you really worked on a couple of things, faced those challenges, and then you are getting into a program like this where you learn about strategy, about business, about finance, and all of that, the way that you would connect the dots is going to be very, very different, right?
Right, and it's also very interesting to note that like Professor Mayank mentioned, with the help of the case studies, you can directly apply almost instantaneously the learnings in a classroom environment to a real world business space, right? I
Yeah,
mean, back in the days, it was very rare for someone to kind of while they are in class, be able to actually apply that knowledge in real time in the business world, or they may actually have to formally graduate and then wait for a while till
that's right.
until that opportunity presents itself. But now, with the way these programs are curated, especially the one from Jindal Global Business School, they kind of force you to think critically, kind of help you enhance strategic thinking, right? And that kind of makes you a valuable member of the business community. So it's very interesting to note that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, in any case, Christabel and, Tarun, I totally agree. So, with the advent of AI and, I was a previous, in my previous life, I was a software engineer, right? But there were statements by the founder of OpenAI, by, Google CEO, that a lot of the entry-level software jobs are already gone because, the AI can do a much better job of writing code. So you're talking about higher order skills to be able to remain relevant in the corporate, right? Because a lot of the entry-level clerical jobs, in any case, AI can do in a much more efficient, cheaper manner. We are seeing a lot of the companies actively deploying AI, right? So when you, for example, the example that we discuss is that when you're trying to bring in an innovation that happens somewhere else to this context, trying to internalize it, and you're trying to make amends so that it generates value, I think that is something that AI can't do, right? And that is where you start getting noticed. So that is where you are applying the higher order cognitive skills in that particular Indianized context, which thankfully, AI can't do right now. But so the whole idea is that, it helps you develop those skills that, are relevant today and definitely will be much more relevant in the future as well.
Right. Now, while we are talking about how professionals can actually balance out a program like this alongside a busy work schedule, Tarun, what does the schedule actually look like? How often do these classes happen? And do students have the options of different timings and those kind of things?
Sure. So typically, say a Monday to Friday, it will be asynchronous learning, wherein the student needs to log into their learning platform and they're able to view pre-recorded lectures and downloadable study materials, which they need to kind of study on their own. And they need to dedicate about 2 hours uh, daily, and that could be done as per their convenience, maybe in the mornings before they set off to work, or maybe in the evenings once they're back home, right? And to further enhance the learning, we have live lectures coming to you straight from the faculty, and these are all folks that are at least a PhD, and experts in their domain, who would be coming to you live over the weekends on Saturday and Sundays and conducting live lectures. So that will be a chance for you to interact with the faculty as well.
Right. Tarun, another question for you now for our audience who is keen on exploring programs like this. What are the main things they should look for in program like this? Say somebody, folks have just passed out of their 12th and they've then for one reason or the other had to enter the workforce, right? But now the pace at which they're growing is very slow and they really, really want to notch things up by several notches and accelerate growth there, right? What
Sure.
are the key things they should look for in programs before making a choice?
Sure. So, firstly, how easily it is accessible, right? If I mean, how much of tech integration or tech dependent they need to be. So, if program is available to you, I know that bandwidth is still an issue in India as such, right? So, the first thing they need to check if the course content is available, say, on a mobile app, which makes it very easily accessible. You don't really need to be close to a laptop or a computer for that. That is number one, right? Secondly, look for the recognition of the university or of the educational institute. And thirdly, look at the value that they will get. Look at how current this program is to the real world business space today, right? And what job ready and whether this program is making them job ready straight out of the program. So these are the three key things that the learners should actually look at before considering enrolling for a business program,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
also, what kind of support in terms of student support, in terms of problem solving, and also very important is I would look at the faculty, what percentage of the faculty is PhD. Or having a doctorate degree, it's very, very important for us to see, and whether they have relevant business experience, right? That is also something that I would encourage our
Right.
prospective students to look at.
Right. That's really valuable. Check if there is the program is actually available as an app. Check for its accreditations. Check if it is mostly theoretical or if it's going to cover the most current
Right,
things. How
right,
the job readiness aspect is a huge one. I think that's where most of the universities stop, right? They're very good at the theory part and the
correct.
modules and all of that, but the real challenge is when you're going to get out into the real world. So the last sprint of what support you will get from these programs in terms of getting your job ready, in terms of career support, and the faculty as well. So, Professor, in what about at Jindal School of Business? How is it looking over there in terms of the kind of faculty and their business experience, the ratio of PhDs and all of that? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So, Crucible, we are very choosy about who we hire because, we really believe that the kind of human capital, the quality of human capital really makes an organization. So, while we are hiring, we are very particular about who we want to hire. And, I'm very happy to tell you that, Jindal Global Business School is not only one of the largest B schools in India, single campus in terms of full-time faculty, but in terms of quality also, more than 98% of our faculty are PhDs. More than
Wow, it's
70% of our
huge.
faculty have PhDs from IIMs and IITs. Many others, like me, have a European PhD, someone has American PhD, Australian PhD from top institutions, worldwide. Right. Our faculty have more than, collectively about roughly about approximately 300 years of work ex, across all the faculty members, right? So it's a nice mix of industry experience, top pedigree. We are the number one B school in India in terms of research output. So if you take all the 21 IIMs, all the top private institutions, we are ahead of them in terms of our research output. So, and what that tells you is that our faculty, is on top of their literature, whether they're teaching operations or human resources or strategy or, finance and accounting or whatever area they're teaching in, they are on the top of the literature because, that's top quality research is a marker of that. So it's a very high quality faculty, and as I was saying, all of this comes with a cost. There is a cost structure to maintain this kind of high quality. And what online degree program, it's not only about the flexibility, right? It's also about that you are getting access to this top quality faculty at a fraction of the cost of the residential program. And in fact, our imagination at Jindal University is just to make sure that we are giving back to the society through these online programs, via different schools, whether it's a law program or a business program. It's because, our residential programs, given the quality that we offer, the price point is much, much higher. But through online program, the imagination is completely different. It's just we want to make sure that we are giving access to this top quality talent at a fraction of the cost. Because we truly believe that education should transcend borders, right? I mean, it should not be. And the more you give back, the more it grows, right? I mean, that's the essence. So it's a great faculty. Almost all of them have PhDs. And through these programs and the newly launched online BBA that we are also offering, the imagination remains the same, that we want to make sure that we are able to give our small bit in nation building. That when we're talking about a 5 trillion economy, 10 trillion economy, hopefully fingers crossed very soon, Jindal University is also able to give its small bit, so that there are employable graduates who understand business, and who can also contribute towards that national strategic goal of economy and all of that.
Right. Wonderful. 98% of the faculty as PhD holders is quite a statistic, right? I just want to again turn our attention to the people in the room. Um, Guys, whatever questions that might be popping up to your mind that you might want to put forth to Professor Mayank and Tarun, please do sound it off to us. You can use the Q&A section in the footer on your Zoom that you can see. That will help us to keep tab of which ones are open and which ones are not. Please feel free to keep asking your questions there, and you can also put your questions into the chat. All right. So let's continue with that. And right. Tarun, now when there are young people looking to take one of these programs, juggle it with work and all that they have going on in their lives, a very easy step is to sign up for something, but to actually stick with it through all the rigor and the dedication that it's going to take is a different story, right?
Right.
What are some of the best practices for maintaining discipline and self motivation while pursuing an online degree like this?
So, look, it's very important to, first of all, for a student to realize what his or her professional and personal time allocation looks like, right? And be very dedicated to fit in at least 2 hours of space daily towards their online education. And the way these programs are structured, right, it could be any 2 hours. You could go ahead and do it at a stretch, or you could do it between half an hour slots, maybe sometime in the morning, sometime during your break at work, and then sometimes in the evening or late in the night when you have free time. But it is very essential for them to plan it out and allocate some structured time for them to go ahead and complete this program. So that way, it will not come down as a rush towards the end when the exams are coming closer. Or life is unpredictable. So are challenges at work and personal life, right? So in order for them to avoid this time constraint, it is very important for them to have a dedicated time slots. And usually, like from my experience, 2 hours daily is not too much to ask for, and it could very help them easily navigate this responsibility of work as well as an online program very easily.
Right. And another aspect that I really want to touch while we're on this, Professor, let me extend this question to you in terms of how industry perceives programs like this, right? Especially when it's an online one. Um, how are students from online who have completed online programs like this versus maybe a full-time offline thing? Um, So you have one student who has perhaps been to the offline university and all of that, but perhaps does not have that significant experience. On the other hand, you have a youngster with 2 3 years of experience, and then looking to do an online program, juggling it with this. How does the industry really perceive this?
So, Christopher, you ask a very important question. And, what I'll say is that, first of all, offline and online programs are, apples and oranges. So, both of them have their own pros and cons, right?
Mhm.
Right. So that is very one. I mean, everyone might want to go to Harvard and Stanford, but can you go to Harvard and Stanford, everyone? Let's face it, I mean, you can't, right? Not all of them can, right? So if you can't, then what are the other best available options? Online offers you flexibility that offline programs don't, right? So that is something important. Now, answering your question about credibility, I think, as I said, in my earlier when I was answering some other questions as well, is that it's very important when any learner is looking for an online program, the first is the credibility of the institution. I think that is very important because, that is going to go on their CVs. So, first choice that the learners have to make is, okay, I'm working right now, or, I'm at a geography and I cannot leave that geography, and I still want to upskill myself to make my profile relevant for the industry, right? And therefore, I want to do online, while doing all of this. So that's the first choice they have to make. Secondly, once they have decided that I'm on full-time employment, I don't want to leave it, and I want to upskill my profile, right? So then online is a great option, as we discussed before. The second thing is that they need to see the credibility and the reputation of the place where they're getting all this,
Hmm.
because a top ranked institution with a proper pedigree, that will ensure two three things. Number one, there will be a brand name, and brands are important, right? We all know that. So, and secondly, that a top brand would also, to a large extent, ensure that the content is benchmark, to the world's, best institutions. So that way they can be, carefree as to the actual relevance of the content. So that is also important. We talked about the faculty. Faculty quality is extremely important because, if you have the right faculty, faculty is the one who's going to teach and take and deliver those courses. So, the quality of faculty, who's teaching, who's taking those live sessions that we discussed earlier, that is also very important. So while choosing online, I think, the learner should ensure that the university or the B school is recognized, has a proper pedigree, in terms of ranking, in terms of faculty quality. It's a reputable university with a strong track record, and look at the curriculum, look at the, expertise of the faculty and the other, bits and pieces that you said about, the tech support offering, the other help, the counselors and all of that. But you should definitely, the learner should start from the reputation of the institution, the faculty quality who's going to deliver all that content, in the case of online through live sessions on a weekend, for example. And that will also help them make sure that, the content is also benchmarked, to it's relevant, it will actually help them become career ready.
Right. Thank you for that, Professor. Tarun, in your experience as well, especially in terms of the career support. So, one, we have quite a few questions coming in from our audience asking about what is the type of career support? How will you provide the support to students? What is the type of career support? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So while we do not have any direct career support in terms of placement, but these programs, the way that they are designed is to, offer very interesting topics such as leadership, negotiation skills, strategic data analytics, and things like that, right? So these programs itself make one, ready to be able to, take on what is the demand of the current corporate ask right now. It was also very interesting, right? Because through peer learning, right? I mean, as Professor Mayank spoke about case studies, it is quite typical wherein the faculty will assign a group project or a case study, right? And this is an opportunity where we encourage our learners to kind of be able to build a rapport and network with their fellow students, right? And quite a few of them will actually be a working professional. These are people coming from reputed organizations. So the key here is to leverage this, group bonding and to be able to network, right? And it's not very uncommon where in the past we've had a lot of success stories of our students landing jobs through that peer network and peer connection that they, get the opportunity to meet through the program. So that is how we encourage our learners to be able to move on to the next place that they want to go in terms of their career.
Right. Thank you for that, Tarun. We have some questions coming in about when the next batch is actually going to start.
So,
Tarun, would you like to take that?
yeah, sure. So we are starting the cohort towards the end of April, and the admissions are ongoing currently, right? And we've had the program URL posted in the chat, so I will encourage our attendees to click on that link and go and visit the program page, where they will get to learn more in detail about the program. And also, please go ahead and drop your information on the program page where we will have our team of expert counselors who will reach out to you and be able to speak to you more in detail about this program and answer any additional queries that you may have.
Right. And while we're on that, to everyone present, we also have a special surprise for you. Um, Stay tuned towards as we progress more into it. If you're interested in this, there will be a special offer that you can really make take advantage of, and keep your questions coming in. We have some of the questions that are getting answered on the side. What about integrating AI into the curriculum, considering its upheaval in the current employment trends? Professor Mayank, would you like to
Oh,
take that?
okay. Yeah, I was just wondering who you were asking that question.
Right, right.
So Christabel, I think, so as this is a Bachelor of Business Administration degree, we do offer, multiple specializations currently, in marketing and finance and HR operations. And as part of the course and considering the importance of technology, a lot of tech courses are already part of the curriculum. So we have a course on Python, a course on emerging tech,
Right.
and multiple other courses at the intersection of, for example, innovation and strategy like design thinking, or, courses on entrepreneurship, which help students think out of the box, to make sure an idea is feasible and, viable and all of that. So we do offer tech courses as part of the curriculum because we understand that tech is very important, right? But a lot of so when you talk about AI, right, it's one thing is about also the tech that you need to understand. And, that requires a very different sort of a background, to be, honest. But the more important thing is that with the advent of AI and whatever, impact AI is making, and we discussed about how it's essentially making a lot of the entry level jobs redundant. The more important skill is that what you can contribute to the organization so that your job remains secure. So the kind of skill set that you bring to the table is not impacted by AI tech. So I think that is the more important piece that the learners need to understand, that the whole idea of doing BBA, let's say, if it's to upskill themselves to make their profiles more relevant to the jobs of today and especially tomorrow, then what are the things you need in order to upskill yourself so that you can leverage AI to make a better version of yourself. So I think that is the more important piece. And by doing a lot of the different functional courses in management as well as the tech courses which are part of the curriculum, I think students will be able to understand in what direction they need to work and what they need to do to be able to remain relevant in the very rapidly changing landscape.
Right. Thank you, Professor. think this is going to be a question on the top of a lot of people's minds. And yeah, I think that also goes back to one of the things which Tarun spoke about, that to check when you're getting into a program like this. Is it a program that is alive and making sure that it is keeping up with all the trends that are going on in the world today?
I think, as a software engineer, I can certainly say that people who understand tech, who understand management, at the intersection of tech and management, they certainly have an edge, right? So,
Right.
I mean, one profile is
Certainly.
completely technology, that, you're completely working in technology, this and that. But if you are able to apply that tech knowledge to advance a business, right? I think that is a higher order skill. If you understand how you can leverage technology to achieve a business goal for an organization, now that is a very important skill that
Yes.
organizations really value, right? So what you're talking about, especially because we're talking about BBA, so we're not talking about
Mm.
an engineering sort of a degree. It's a management degree. So I think what is relevant here is that people understand what component, how you can leverage tech to achieve the business outcomes. That is important, right? So you are essentially at the intersection of both. You understand a bit of tech, bit of, a lot of business. But
Mm.
what you really understand is that how do you use this tech
Yep.
to make a process simpler, more straightforward, more efficient, that can really have an impact on the bottom line or the top line of an organization. That is important. Right.
Right.
So that is something that, I think learners will do well if they can, develop that sort of a competence.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you really hit the nail on the head with that one, Professor. The intersection of technology, management, and AI is where it's at. True. We have a few other questions that have been coming in here. A question here, it says, will students have access to the same faculty as the on-campus programs? Professor Mayank.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I must tell all the learners here and assure them that, all the content, all the faculty teaching, whatever has been recorded and put up in the cloud, and the live sessions that we earlier mentioned, all of them are full-time faculty members of Jindal Global Business School. So, we don't make any distinction that, this faculty will teach in the offline programs and this faculty members will teach in the online programs. We have 180 plus full-time faculty members, and they are involved in offline, and some of them are involved in online. Some of them, teach a part of online, part of offline. So 100% of the content, creation and the delivery and the live sessions would be done by full-time faculty members of Jindal Global Business School.
Wonderful. So that's like the best of both worlds. You get to stay in the city that you are, continue in the profession that you are in, and get the best from one of the best universities of India. Right.
Absolutely. And I think one thing I would like to stress here is that online offers you flexibility, but there is still
Mm.
work to do. I mean, so that is something that everyone, should understand. And, I think earlier, Tarun was also mentioning that, the important thing is there is flexibility. So, 2 hours, 3 hours every day. It can be the morning, it can be because the content is up there in the cloud, right? So
Yeah.
you have flexibility if you're a, early riser, you can do, early mornings or late evenings,
Yes.
you don't want to do, on Wednesday, that's fine. But then you make it up on a Thursday or a weekend. So
Mm.
that is a great choice, but that has to be done. I mean, it's not like a magic period that,
Yeah.
just follow and everything will be done. So at least the ones that we are offering, it's a proper degree, BBA degree program from one of the top universities in India. So work needs to be done. It's just that you have a great amount of flexibility, in order to see, because only when you go through the content, attend the sessions, interact with the faculty, do all the assignments, do the projects that Capstone, it's a wonderful project. So you do all of that, only then you build the competence, right? So, I mean, that needs to be done, but the flexibility is there, which is absolutely amazing, and is not available in many other, offline programs.
Yes. Thank you for that, Professor Mayank. Suvarna has a question, Tarun, and it'll be nice if you can take that, which is really getting to the heart of it. She asks, what will be the total cost of tuition for the entirety of the degree? And are there any scholarships? And of course, what is the special gift that we have for attendees in the room today?
Sure. So this is a 3-year program, and currently we are offering a early bird discount. So the program is priced at 2,40,000 for the entire program, but we are running a special early enrollment discount for limited folks that enroll for the program, and that's a 15,000 rupee scholarship for our BBA students. But just today, specifically for the attendees of this webinar, we are going to be offering an additional 5,000 rupee cashback in form of a cashback voucher. So all in all, you will be getting a total value benefit of 20,000 rupees for this program, and instead of 2,40,000, this program will be available for you today for 2,20,000 only. So I encourage you to go on the program link, which was shared earlier in the chat window. You'll get to learn more about the program. You'll get to know and also read about the faculty members that are going to be part of this program. And please drop us your information, and our team of academic experts will get in touch with you and speak to you more in detail about your qualification, your eligibility, the program, and the early bird offer also.
Wonderful. So, yes, to everyone who is here, um, we hope some of your questions have been addressed, that you have really, got the value for your time here, which we highly value. And of course, we'll send you this across in information on an email as well so that you have it with you. And do take advantage of the limited time offer that Tarun has shared with you. And all right. Um, Tarun, this one more question that has come up is about okay, the accreditations and the recognitions and all of that, right? Um, Now, Jindal Business School is recognized as an institution of eminence by the government of India. Tell us a bit more about that and the significance of that.
So the Institute of Eminence is a title or a designation conferred upon a select top quality, top tier institutes. Jindal Global Business School obviously, enjoys that cachet with the top elite institutes like the IIMs and the IITs. You could go read more about that on their website, and also, we could have a detailed discussion with you, uh, when you call us and speak to us. But I would also, ask Professor Mayank to speak more about the IOE title that the Jindal Global Business School enjoys. Professor Mayank?
Yeah, so what I would say is that as you also pointed out, that the institution of eminence is given to the university and not a business school, because it's given to the entire university.
Right.
Obviously, business school is part of that university, and it's given to very select institutions. In fact, all over India, I think only 11 or 12 institutions are there which enjoy this status. And as we all know, there are thousands of universities in India, more than 1,000 at least, and thousands and thousands of B schools. So it's a very, very select group. And which are the other institutions which are there in that group? There is IIT Delhi, there is IIT Bombay, IIT Madras, I think IIT Kharagpur. Then centuries old institutions like University of Hyderabad and Banaras Hindu University, which are more than 100 years old, I think. So it's a very prominent names in the Indian higher education sector. Along with that, there is also OP Jindal Global University, as a private institution which has been given this status. So it basically ties on to the earlier discussion we are having, that learners should definitely go, if they're going for online, but also for offline, but especially for online, to make sure that the institution is credible. It's a top rank institution, so that they can be sure that the content they're getting, the degree they're getting is valid, adds value to their CVs. They get a brand that they can leverage as part of their career progression. So So yeah, I think, that should help our learners to get an understanding of, and, all of this information should be available on the UGC website. If you can
Mhm.
just Google Institution of Eminence, you'll get the complete list of which are the other institutions of eminence, that has been conferred by the Government of India.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. I think we've covered most of the questions that are here. Mm, Right. Aishwarya, we see your question there, and we'll get our team to reach out to you specifically to help you out a little bit more in detail with that. But thank you for your queries, Suvarna, Aishwarya, everyone who's put in their questions there. Thank you. And we hope this conversation has been helpful to you in terms of getting more clarity on these aspects while you are evaluating the program to take up alongside a busy work schedule. We have covered ground on a lot of important aspects here with Professor Mayank and Tarun. Thank you so much, Professor Mayank and Tarun, for joining us. And to each and every one of our attendees from the various parts of India, thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. And we hope you've received significant clarity in terms of how you can proceed with this and the value that it's going to really add. We'll be in touch with you. You will receive communication from us. And this is just one of the early sessions that we've started, and you can expect to see much more of us in different ways. We will be bringing similar themes to you, and of course Tarun has shared the batch start date and all of that. So please make note of that and take the action that you need to do within that time so as to benefit the most. And once again, thank you to Professor Mayank and Tarun, and have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you very much, Christabel, and all the very best to all the learners who've joined us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christabel. Thank you, Professor Mayank. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure. Thanks.
Thanks so much.